If where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and you develop the ability to take all of your attention off your body, you would go from a somebody to a nobody. Love is the glue that holds the atom together. Okay, if I get a coherent heart, the more coherent my heart is, the more energy in my heart, the more I can draw my future to me. No one's going to make you happy until you make you happy, right? And that changes everything. Probability of us seeing the truth of reality is zero.
Wow.
And we are only seeing a small spectrum of frequency, the rainbow, visible light, bouncing off the most stable form of energy called matter, giving us this hologram, this illusion of separation.
Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the visible world? What if everything we think we know about reality is just an illusion? Dr. Joe Dispenza reveals how quantum physics holds the key to manifesting the life you desire by harnessing the power of the unseen.
We basically create in lack or separation. And you're walking down the street and you see someone with a nice car and you're like, oh, I love that car, and you don't have it.
Yeah.
You want that car because you don't have it. So you're going to go out and work or do whatever you can to get that car. And in order for you to get that car, we're in the plane of demonstration. You got to do things. So there's the thought of having the car, and then there's the experience of having it. And the distance between the thought of the car and the experience of getting it is called time.
Yes.
Right? That's separation. So then in three-dimensional reality, you gotta everything that we do to create to bring those 2 points of consciousness together takes time and energy. So we gotta do things. We gotta get up and go try things out and do things and work and then you buy the car finally, and then you may have to make payments. So you got to keep working to pay it off, right? So it takes a lot of time and energy. So in three-dimensional reality, the plane of demonstration, there's a separation between the thought of what you want and the experience of having it. And you got to do things to get it, and that's called time. So then the cause and the effect, one point of consciousness, another point of consciousness, the separation is called time. Okay, well, you can get really good at that. You can get trained, you can go to school, you can make a lot of the right choices, you can meet the right people, you can figure out ways to accumulate more things and get all the things you want that you think that makes you happy, right? But after a while, you're like, some people never actually create the thing they want. They spend their entire life in lack.
Dr. Dispenza explains how most of us create from a state of lack, always chasing what we don't have. He emphasizes the separation between thought and the experience of having something, and how time exists as the gap between desire and manifestation in the three-dimensional world. This traditional approach to creation, working hard to bridge the gap between thought and reality, may feel familiar, but what if there's a way to bypass time entirely?
That invisible field of energy, Einstein said, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. He didn't say the particle controls the particle, he said the field controls the particle. So if I can change information in the field, I should be able to affect the particle matter. So it turns out the atom is 99.99999% energy, information. There's nothing physical or material there, 0.00001 material, when then the probability of us seeing the truth of reality is zero.
Wow.
And we are only seeing a small spectrum of frequency, the rainbow, visible light, bouncing off the most stable form of energy called matter, giving us this hologram, this illusion of separation, okay? So if there was a way to create from the field instead of from matter and move closer to source and create from a place of wholeness and less from separation, I'd have to be able to get to the field.
Yes.
So then if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and you develop the ability to take all of your attention off your body, all of your attention off all the people in your life, all the objects and things, your cell phone, your car, your house, whatever, all the relationships, all the people, all the places you need to go, the place you're sitting, the place you grew up, the place you sleep, the place you work, and nothing about the predictable future or the familiar past, and settle into the present moment, you would go from a somebody to a nobody. From a someone to a no one, from something to nothing, from somewhere to nowhere, from some time to no time. That is the moment you're pure consciousness. You would be disinvesting all of your attention, all of your energy out of this three-dimensional reality, out of the known, and placing it on the unknown.
Here, Dr. Dispenza discusses the invisible field of energy that connects everything in the universe and how our brains, when aligned with this field, can become highly organized and powerful. This is a key component of quantum manifestation, shifting from working in the material world to tapping into the energetic field. By aligning our thoughts and emotions with this unified field, we can manifest with far more ease than through physical effort alone.
So that brain that's coherent, the entire brain is functioning as one neurological network. The two hemispheres are coming together, and there's this kind of psychic union called wholeness. Now that state of coherence, in moving out of the beta brainwave states into a slower brainwave state, produces electrical signals.
Yes.
And that electrical signal is the intention. That's the more clear your intention is, the more coherent the brain is, the stronger the signal. Okay, so if you decided to create from the field instead of from matter, and you were just pure consciousness, and I asked you to send the signal out from a coherent brain, and whatever that thing is that you wanted, we trained you how to do that, then you would be shimmering the entire vacuum, that entire void. You are that. You're not you any longer. You're the source, right? So if you're the source and you're sending the signal out, then you're touching the consciousness of everybody, of everyone, of everything, of everywhere, of every time. The entire field is becoming electric because of your intention.
Wow.
Okay? Now, if you're source, why would you go anywhere to get anything? And so consciousness is coherent brain, and then the energy of the heart is love, and pure love is source. So if I asked you to fall in love with that future, and I asked you to draw the future to you with the magnetic field of the heart produces a magnetic field up to 3 meters wide. That's studied. So now, love is the glue that holds the atom together. Okay, if I get a coherent heart, the more coherent my heart is, the more energy in my heart, the more I can draw my future to me. So you send the signal out, you draw the experience to you, and now you don't go anywhere to get anything. When there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential in the quantum field, when there's a match, you start seeing those synchronicities. You synchronize your energy to that possibility. And so you start seeing the coincidences and the synchronicities and the opportunities. I'm not talking about a parking space. I'm talking about like real life events.
Yes.
This is a critical moment for people, because I think people don't realize how powerful they really are. When that event happens in their life, they will look back at every single betrayer, everything that happened in their past, and they won't care. They won't care any longer. That's the moment their past no longer exists, because they're proving to themselves what they innately already know that they may have forgotten.
Which is
and
what?
That is that the creator of their life. And when you have that synchronicity, you are humbled by the truth.
Dr. Dispenza explains how sending signals from a coherent brain allows you to touch the consciousness of everything and everyone, opening the door to synchronicities and manifestations. When we step into this role as creators, the world begins to shift around us. But how do we ensure we stay in that powerful state throughout our day?
If you're so whole that you feel so abundant that the only thing you want to do is give, we have people in this work that have created millions of dollars, and they're giving it away. And the more they give it away, the more money they keep getting. That's the experiment for them. That's their experiment. They're trying that out as an experiment. Why? Because an abundant person would never hold on to anything. They have more than they need. So the side effect of creating from the field instead of from matter shortens the distance between the thought of what we want and the experience of having it. And that means there's less time. And the greater frequency, the closer we are to source, the less separation is 2 points of consciousness. It means there's less time, and it should happen in a shorter amount of time in three-dimensional reality. And that event, it's none of your business when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Because the moment you try to predict it, you're back to the Newtonian model of reality.
You're wanting and needing again.
You're laying a known over the unknown. And the consciousness that lives within us, that source, says, I honor free will. Go for it. Do it your way.
Yes.
And so we have to lay down the very thing we used our whole life to get what we want. And so we control, we force, we predict, we fight for it, we manipulate, we cheat, we lie, we steal. We do everything when we're matter, trying to change matter to take away that lack or separation. But if there's an alternative way to do that, to shorten the distance between one point of consciousness and another point, between cause and effect, and you start believing that you're the creator of your reality, you stop trying so hard.
Dr. Dispenza reflects on the challenge of surrendering control and letting the universe handle the how of manifestation. This requires stepping away from old habits of forcing outcomes and trusting in a greater process. Surrendering to this unknown can be daunting, but it's in this space of uncertainty that true magic happens.
Showing up for yourself every day. Investing in yourself is investing in your future. And people say to me, well, I did it for 2 weeks and nothing happened. I say to them, you're not that good. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Right.
It's not like it doesn't work for you. It's just like, learn a little bit more knowledge. Understand what you're doing. Your health condition isn't changing. Okay. Your relationship, you want a relationship, and you want a relationship in love, and you're living the 3/4 of your day in fear. You think you're going to attract love. You got to be able to feel that feeling instead of fear. And when it's the hardest, it matters the most. Then you're worthy.
Right.
You're worthy of love. You are worthy. When you get to that point where you're worthy of love, it's not like entitlement. Like, I'm worthy of love. That's not how that works. You are worthy of it. You're so worthy of it. You're okay without anybody. That's when it gets really good.
That's powerful. When you don't need it.
Because you don't need anything.
Because you feel whole.
Exactly. Now that I call that the natural state of being. That's why we practice so much relaxed in the heart and awake in the brain, because there are so many biological changes, neurological, genetic changes that take place in that present moment. So many wonderful changes. So the person who wants the wealth, the person who wants the relationship, they can't be saying, or the health, they can't be saying, well, how come I'm not healed? The person who's in the process of healing would never say that. That's the old self.
Right.
That says, how come I don't have a new relationship? Well, we'll figure it out. Like 2 weeks went by, and were you spending the rest of your day in fear and in lack? Were you hating yourself and hating your life? What do you think? You think you're worthy of love at this point? You're not gonna be happy. No one's gonna make you happy until you make you happy, right? And that changes everything. You find that person, and they're happy for no reason. And not just happy like always happy, but a sensibility that they can manage themselves and manage their emotions and manage their attention in such a way that's admirable. Like, you're inspired by that person. Your relationship, the person that you're with, is an inspiration to you. Like, wow, I'm inspired by this person. I'm moved by this person.
Dr. Dispenza describes the shift from a state of lack to one of wholeness, where we no longer feel the need to chase outcomes. Instead, we live in a state of gratitude, drawing experiences to us effortlessly. Living in this elevated state changes everything. But how can we sustain it long enough to see real results?
The brain coherence and heart coherence is producing a Wi-Fi signal. And now you're connected. Now you're hooked up.
Right.
When your brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. When your brain is incoherent, you have no Wi-Fi signal, you don't have a connection. When your heart is not coherent, you have no Wi-Fi signal, you have no connection. You're separate. You're too far from the router, from your source. So tuning up the autonomic nervous system, tuning up the nervous system, like hitting a tuning fork by tuning into energy and frequency, keep doing that. Boy, we see just really, really wonderful things. I mean, I always say to the scientists, all those meditations on nothing, but in hypnosis, you're plugged into reality with your senses, you're getting instructions, you're hearing things, you're seeing things, and of course, you're suggestible and you can program a person. But the person's sitting in a meditation. Their eyes are closed. There's music playing.
Yes.
They're not connected to their outer world at all, but they're still suggestible to information. And there's only one other place you can get information from, and that's frequency. And the more coherent the brain and the more coherent the heart, the more coherent the information. And the little gland in the back of the brain called the pineal gland, and the brain's radio receiver, hooks up to that frequency and that energy, and it transduces that information into profound imagery in the brain. And a person is having a transcendental moment. And that moment, they are seeing beyond the veil of this illusion of separation. And that's when they remember who they are and where they came from. That moment you can only talk around.
Yes.
But it is electric.
This clip emphasizes the importance of coherence between the brain and heart, creating a Wi-Fi signal that connects us to the quantum field. Without coherence, our energy is fragmented and we remain disconnected from the source. Once you've mastered this coherence, you open the door to limitless possibilities. But what happens when you start to manifest your deepest desires?
And so you got to ask yourself, is this loving to me? And this is the beginning of your relationship with yourself.
Absolutely.
And self-forgiveness is so important. Not self-forgiveness like, okay, go out and do it again. But like, what did I learn? Do I really want to end up here every day? Do I really want to end up in the same place? I don't want this.
Right.
Okay, so then what would you tell your kid if you didn't want it? Well, change that. Like, how do I change it? Well, stop it. You want to be happy, stop being unhappy. That's really simple.
Right.
And so the unlearning process the breaking the habit process. She was so incredibly free after that moment. She literally moved out of her past into her present moment. And when she was making that decision, when she saw like all the days that she never missed a meditation, and she fell in love with that person. She fell in love with that person. And it was that future self. There's a future me that already exists that's more mystical, more loving, more abundant, more free, more unlimited, more genius, more cool. And it's you, right? And so the overcoming process then is the difficult process, because so many people rather just get on their cell phone, get distracted, scroll through TikTok or social media, and just regulate their emotions by something else happening. They're not conscious they're doing that, but that's what they're doing. You're sitting through the fire, and you're not going for the cell phone. Man, it's like you're in the river of change, and it's uncomfortable, and it's uncertain, and there's unpredictability, and it's the unknown. But man, that is the place to create from, not from the known, from the unknown. So, getting people into that place where they're uncomfortable and okay with it, and understanding that there is a future. And finally, I say to them, "Will you tell the audience? Oh yeah, I was blind, and now I can see."
Finally, we learned that the process of manifesting from the quantum field is not just about material gains, but about who we become in the process. The transformation is both internal and external, leading us to a state of wholeness and love. As we evolve into our highest selves, the question becomes, how far can we go? How much can we manifest when we align fully with the quantum field? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you soon with more enlightening videos.